What is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports here to give you the edge for this 11/28 NBA slate on DraftKings. Cannot wait to break it down. I know a lot of you won't be watching this video because today is NFL Sunday, but for you guys watching, this is a 3-game NBA slate, and I will be bringing it to you right now. And before we jump into this NBA 3-game slate, one thing I always like to do is recap our last night's success, specifically my entire process, how I approached the slate from a double-up perspective, a GPP perspective, how I got different, and the type of contest selection I've been rolling out is I've been doing a 3 GPP entry and a single entry cash lineup with a combination of those, trying to stay afloat and wait for that big GPP success. So I'll be bringing it to you right now. Last night the cash hit, and it hit hard. So all the chalk, all the high owned players did hit pretty hard. This was my chalk lineup. As you can see here, I played it in a double up. This is all contest selection. Turned $5 into $10, $25 into $50, and then I entered a 3-man double up, or 3-man contest, which again, I put my double up lineup into there to capitalize on the upside. So let's actually take a look here at what that lineup looked like. Again, having all high-end players is generally the strategy you want to implement when putting out a double-up lineup. Not getting different whatsoever. So my lowest owned guy was Markkanen here at 21.9. Well, it was actually Donovan Mitchell at 15.8%. But as you can see, all these guys relatively high-owned don't have any low-owned players. And due to lineup construction, this was the lineup that I ended up on. Kevin Porter was mega chalk. We also had Wendell Carter at 82.5%. Christian Wood at 59.6%. He was also very high-owned. And I made sure to have all those guys on there. My last pieces were actually Miles Bridges and Donovan Mitchell, just the way that the lineup construction kind of worked. It was a mid-range type of night. Like Alec Burks was going to be he should have been higher owned in my opinion, because he was starting obviously without Derrick Rose in that lineup and was projected to play 30 plus minutes. So 57.9% owned with him. And just the way lineup construction kind of worked out, this was the chalk lineup that I ended up on, and it did hit. Now I put down about $60, won I think $80 if I did the math correctly. Regardless, I won money on the night because the chalk hit, and I was able to stay afloat. Now, if you guys take a look here at my GPPs, none of them hit because I got contrarian, took some lower owned guys, and because of that, because the chalk hit, the GPPs did not. So let's take a look here at my GPP lineup that did not hit. I'll just go ahead and take a look here at one, and you guys can see how I got different. So I got different with Jordan Clarkson. With the news that Royce O'Neal was ruled out, I expected an uptick in minutes here. I did get different with him. Same thing with Jalen Suggs at 14.4%. I knew that would make for a very awkward build here. And then it looks like Donovan Mitchell and Miles Bridges did end up in my lineup as well. So this lineup, obviously these two guys did not, hit the extreme value there at 29 points and 26. So that's the reason this lineup did not place and did not do well. And I did get different. I'll go ahead and show you guys another GPP just to show you my thought process here. And some other low-owned guys here. DeAndre Ayton, I decided to get different in the center spot since we had some chalkier centers going with like Wendell Carter. And because of that, I went to DeAndre Ayton at 6.7%. Also, LaMarcus Aldridge was pretty chalky last night, and I got him at 6.7%. Obviously, did not pan out, only scoring 16.5 points. And also, Evan Fournier was another low-owned target here. Didn't do bad, but didn't do enough there to place me in the cash line of GPPs. So as you can see here, I got different in about 2 to 3 spots if you want to count Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell I thought was an obvious play, but apparently not at 15.3%. But nonetheless, that is how I get different here on in all my NBA GPPs and cash games. This is my strategy I implement. I always play one single cash line, play in a very small GPP, and then in bigger GPPs, I get different in about 2 or 3 spots. And as you guys can see, I do that every single slate. The tool that helps me to do this is Fantasy Cruncher. If you guys sign up for a $30 monthly membership, you get a $20 voucher to any Fantasy Cruncher product. So you grab all of our favorite GPP plays, our cash plays, our player pools, ownership projections, actual projections, all that. These are uploaded into our cheat sheets, which you can grab access to all that. Plus, again, you get a $20 voucher to any Fantasy Cruncher product. And if you sign up for an NBA monthly package for only $20, you're essentially getting a free optimizer out of Fantasy Cruncher. So all you need to do to redeem all that info is head over to our membership page. Go ahead and sign up for the $30 package. Once you sign up for that, you get a credit uploaded to your DGF account, and it then connects you to Fantasy Cruncher, and then you're able to upload that credit to any Fantasy Cruncher product. So again, all that is on their membership page. All the links are below in the description. Plus, all the other tutorials on how to utilize Fantasy Cruncher is also on our webpage. Oh, real quick, also, I have been starting to upload all of our free NBA cheat sheets. So if you miss out on this video or any videos going forward, I upload all my favorite plays based on my video for the morning up to our website. So if you guys see here, this is what our cheat sheet looks like. I know I'm kind of jumping really far ahead because these are my favorite plays from the video, but these are all the players I will recap in this video and basically just a condensed player pool. And guys, this is completely free, so feel free to head over to our Twitter. I tweet out whenever our cheat sheet is uploaded, or just follow our website, head over to the article section, and there's a new article probably every single morning around 8 to 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will upload all this into the article page. So as you guys can see here, it gives you a nice condensed player pool, and again, completely free. But let's go ahead and recap that cheat sheet here on this video. This is a very, very straightforward slate, and I'll show you why here. Let's go over the injury report here, starting at the very top. Again, we're starting with the 3-game slate. We're not going over the 3:30 game and 5 o'clock game. We're starting at the 6 o'clock games here with the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown is questionable. If he is ruled out, that will obviously impact the picture here with the Boston Celtics. Guys like Jason Tatum will be mega chalk. Marcus Smart will get a bump in usage, and same thing with Al Horford, because we also have Dennis Schroeder and Rob Williams out. Keep in mind that the price tags have been adjusted to reflect both Robert Williams and Dennis Schroeder being out for the Celtics, so that's one thing to consider. We're just pending that Jaylen Brown news. Taking a look here at the Toronto Raptors, we have Gary Trent and Anunoby questionable. If those guys are ruled out, we obviously have to pay attention there. But these guys really don't impact the slate because there's some crazy big chalk here in the next game with the Sacramento Kings and Memphis Grizzlies. We have Ja Morant out for the Grizzlies, which impacts the entire team in terms of the guard minutes and also the usage. Everybody gets a usage boost, so we will be paying attention to the Memphis Grizzlies. This is the most straightforward slate I've seen in a while because of this picture here with the Memphis Grizzlies, with Ja Morant being out. With the Sacramento Kings, we have Harrison Barnes and Holmes out for the second straight game. We'll be paying attention there to the Sacramento Kings. There's a lot of value in that game. And keep in mind, the over-under for this game is a 225, which is actually the highest on the slate, and coming from two teams that really benefit a lot in terms of the injury report. And then last but not least, we have the Detroit Lakers game. I laugh because if you guys remember back to the last matchup here, Isaiah Stewart and LeBron James had some beef. So we'll see how that gets settled here in this game. It is a 10-point spread, which again is actually closer than I thought it would be. At the Lakers, LeBron James is questionable if he does sit. Wow, I can only assume there's going to be a lot of memes flying around on Twitter if he does. But again, he is questionable. If he is ruled out, then that will impact the picture from the Lakers. On the Detroit side, really nothing going on there with Kelly Olynyk being out. Again, we've seen him out for a pretty decent amount of time. But let's go ahead and just focus on this chalk here from the Sacramento Kings and Memphis Grizzlies. Let's actually start on the Sacramento side, just get that out of the way here. As we saw last game, Alex Len did start. Same thing with Metu at the power forward position. Metu wasn't in the rotation the games before that, but it looks like they are going to roll him out again. If he does start, we're expecting about 20 to 25 minutes from Metu. Comes out to a 22.56 projection, a 5.78 point per dollar value. So he is going to be relatively a decent, good value play here. Not going to be that chalky just because, again, he is flying under that radar. The chalkier option here is going to be from Alex Len, who's starting at the center spot. Did play 37 minutes last game. Keep in mind that was a triple OT game, and he did play all those minutes. So I only expect about 22 to 25 minutes from Alex Len if he does start, and he should at $3,500. He will remain chalky as long as he does start here at $3,500. Comes out to a 7.28 point per dollar value, and I do like him here. One of the more obvious value plays on the slate. Now, the big question mark is Davion Mitchell going to get more minutes here in this game. He drew a lot of the chalk last game because he was expected to get more run here without Harrison Barnes in the mix, just a tighter rotation, and Metu wasn't in the rotation at all. He only played 17 minutes, so I do like him for GPPs, but I don't think he's going to have too high of ownership. Again, the ownership is not uploaded for Fantasy Cruncher. We usually see that around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys want ownership projections, again, that will be uploaded to our site a little bit later in the day. But other than that, not too many other obvious options here. It is going to be Alex Len that is going to draw a majority of the chalk, and then from the opposite side there from the Memphis Grizzlies. Buddy Hield's another guy to consider that I actually don't mind. I am landing on him in terms of a build right now. 31 projected minutes right now, and he's coming out to 33.48 fantasy points total. He does get a slight boost here in usage. When we sort by usage here, he actually gets a 1.4% usage rate boost here and a 0.07 fantasy point per minute boost. He's averaging 1.08 fantasy points per minute here with Harrison Barnes out of the lineup, so I don't mind him here as a last piece in cash. Same exact thing for De'Aaron Fox. Again, with all the value here on the slate, we're going to have to pay up somewhere, and I think De'Aaron Fox is another obvious option because we're in a pace-up spot. He's projected about 35 minutes and 8.3K price tag. Definitely don't mind him here as a last piece in cash. And then let's switch over to the Memphis Grizzlies chalk. And honestly, guys, every single one of the players playing, at least with some kind of minute output, is going to be a good play here from this roster here, starting with De'Anthony Melton. Projected 27 minutes, a 7.3 point per dollar value. We have him projected for 27 points on the dot here. If we take a look here, when we take off Ja Morant and Morel, technically, De'Anthony Melton is averaging 25.9% usage and a 1 fantasy point per minute on the season. Desmond Bane is a 25.3% usage rate player and averaging 0.93 fantasy points per minute. Also, Jaren Jackson, a crazy fantasy point per minute output here, 1.38 fantasy points per minute and 33.5% usage rate. The big question mark with Jaren Jackson is, can he stay out of foul trouble? And if he can, I do love him here in this up-pace offense. That offense will revolve around him, Melton when he's in, Desmond Bane, and Dillon Brooks. Like, all those guys are fantastic options here to land on, especially in cash, and they all will be relatively high owned. You got to just take a look here at this roster in general, and the highest price guy is going to be Jaren Jackson at a 6.5K price tag. That is just insane. So there's really so much value from this roster. Love Melton. I really do like Steven Adams. However, I don't think he's going to be that high end with all the other center options, especially Alex Len. Love Brandon Clark as long as he plays 20 plus minutes. Jaren Jackson in an absolute smash spot. Desmond Bane should play the entire game. Right now, they're only projecting him for 29 minutes, but it looks like the minutes here aren't accurate. I expect about 35 plus minutes here for Desmond Bane. So he is honestly one of my favorite overall plays on the slate in terms of sheer upside. And Dillon Brooks, as long as he plays 30 plus minutes, love him, averaging just over a fantasy point per minute, and should be taking a lot of shots here in this game. Kyle Anderson's going to be a little bit lower owned just because of the minute output's not going to be there, but he is also averaging over a fantasy point per minute here without Morant on the court. And then also Tyus Jones, obviously he's going to get a boost in minutes here. We have him projected for 26. I don't know if he's going to get up to 26, but honestly, as a last piece in GPPs, could be relatively low owned, and I don't mind him here at that 4.8K price tag. So with all that being said, how many Memphis Grizzlies are we going to land on in cash? And I honestly think about 4 or 5 is completely viable. Right now, I landed on the build having Melton, Brooks, Jackson, Bane in there. Also filling with Smart, who obviously benefits without the guards there. Jaylen Brown also being questionable. If he is ruled out, then we're going to have to go back and revisit that Boston Celtic picture. Landing on somebody like Smart. Alex Len is another piece. LeBron James is an obvious pay-up option because there's not too many other pay-up options on the slate. And then De'Aaron Fox, which we already talked about. So let's actually talk about the pay-up options on the slate as a whole. Like, who else can I land on? Jason Tatum's going to be an obvious one if Jaylen Brown's going to be ruled out. And then if LeBron James is ruled out, you have to land on either Russell Westbrook or Anthony Davis. So in terms of lineup construction, that's what that's going to look like. But if I had to prioritize the Memphis Grizzlies, because I know I'm going to get a lot of questions in the comment section, I'm going to start with Melton. He's the best overall value. I then like Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane, Dillon Brooks in that order, and then Steven Adams, and then Brandon Clark. And like I said, guys, this is a very straightforward picture. Also, if you guys could please help out the YouTube algorithm. In the bottom, just please comment your favorite overall play on the slate. It helps out the channel as a whole. Obviously, the more comments, the higher you place in terms of YouTube searches. So if you guys could please like, subscribe, and also comment your favorite overall play on the slate. And that will wrap up my breakdown, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this breakdown. And if you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course, smash that like button for all of our future NBA content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.